At 5,750 feet on the western slopes of Mount Kenya, you will find a large coffee farm, and it is owned by my father. When I was growing up, I would play on my father's farm, chasing the animals, pretending to be a jet pilot flying at Mach speed. When I grew older, I trained to become a pilot, but little did I know that my 5'3" frame wouldn't allow me to fly big planes. I was devastated. And I remember my father consoling me to tell me that it is time I worked harder so that I could become a frequent passenger on the large jets that they wouldn't allow me to fly. Like any promising pilot, I had a backup plan, which I quickly put into action. I have always been fascinated by engines and electrical gadgets. And at that particular time, I was very curious about the term software that was being mentioned in every tech article that I read. Thanks to the advice from my teachers and mentors, I set my sights on becoming a software engineer. Luckily, height was not one of the requirements. Now, back to my father's farm. His farm is part of a cooperative society. Cooperatives are a group of smallholder farmers who band together in order to create relationships with corporate buyers that emphasize on long-term partnerships, quality, and transparency when it comes to labor and fair pricing. There are about 12,000 members, like my father, who are members of cooperative societies, and they contribute to almost 60% of Kenya's coffee production. In fact, this jar of coffee here is from my father's cooperative. When you think about it, cooperatives work because its members share information across the agricultural value chain. Not electronically, of course, but via spoken word. For example, if my father's farm produced grade AA class 10 coffee, and he wanted to sell this coffee, it would require him to demand a premium price for it, and the cooperative would help him negotiate. The concept of cooperatives gave my colleagues and I an idea when we met with Jahil Oliver, an inspiring CEO of a startup called Halo Tractor. Jahil has built what has been described as an Uber for agriculture, but his vision is much broader, and he wants to include value-add services on his platform that include predictive fleet utilization and maintenance, tractor and operator scoring, financing, as well as crop yield forecasting. In order to bring his vision to life, Jahil has to transform the entire agricultural value chain in ways that has never been considered before. And this begins by creating a digital representation of the farm. By mounting a suite of sensors on a John Deere tractor, Halo Tractor is able to digitize the entire dimensions of a farm. And this data that is collected has unlimited possibilities. For example, when this data is combined with Watson Decision Platform for Agriculture, we are able to create a digital twin of the farm, democratizing the entire farm data so that we can share information about the farm data and crop growth across the planet. This data can also be connected and cross-referenced with the food supply chain, which isn't a far stretch from what cooperatives do. We can also use this business-sized piece of paper called the IBM AgroPad to collect soil health information. All the farmer needs to do is collect a soil sample from his farm and place it on this card. The microfluidic chip on this card does a chemical analysis of the soil and gives a result in less than 10 seconds. The farmer will then take a snapshot of this card and use a dedicated mobile application on his phone to store the information. This soil health information will be stored alongside his farm profile to maintain a digital record of his soil health. When all this information is stored in a secure and trusted network, such as the blockchain, banks and credit agencies can have access to this information and generate a credit score for a farmer based on the predicted value of his harvest. Could you imagine a farmer who has never stepped foot in a bank can finally have a credit score and have access to credit? Isn't that powerful? I know that my father isn't particularly interested in technologies such as TypeScript, microservices, or even virtual clouds. But I'm sure he's very interested in the possibilities that IBM and Halo Tractor are looking at, because this will help him make better and more informed decisions about his farm. But don't take my word for it. Ask him the next time you have a cup of coffee with him when you visit the Mount Kenya region.